I've returned. If I look distraught, it's because I am. So yesterday I watched Catherine Called Birdie, which I've heard about from TikTok, but I never watched because I don't normally have Amazon Prime, but I was doing a free trial and I saw that it was there, and so I finally was like, yay, I can watch it. And I cried so much. So I watched it last night for the first time. And then as soon as I finished it, I was like, I need to make a video about this. And then I watched it again today, this afternoon. And I thought the second time, like knowing what happened and how it ended and everything, like I wouldn't cry. But no, I still did. Catherine Called Birdie is a movie about this 14-year-old girl in medieval England, and it's really just like a coming of age story for her. She's like a typical kind of little bit angsty teenager, but like the extra layer is that it's the olden days, so her father's trying to marry her off and she's like opposed to that. She's trying to find a way out of it and trying to find her place in the world. It's really good. It's a comedy, and I don't normally vibe with comedies all that much, but this was, I thought, was pretty funny. And it had a lot of actors that I know. It had Andrew Scott, who was in Fleabag and Sherlock, Bella Ramsey from The Last of Us. Oh, Joe Alwyn was in it. Joe Alwyn I mainly just know because he dated Taylor Swift for a long time, but he's also in Conversations with Friends, I think. I automatically, as soon as I saw him, I was like, ooh, because I did not like his character in Conversations with Friends. But like, I associate that face with that person because I've never seen him in anything else. But in the end, his character wasn't so bad. So our main character, her name is Catherine, but everyone calls her Birdie. And she's just like a mischievous little critter. She's always running around, getting into things. So she's from a noble family, but they're out of money. So her dad decides he needs to marry her off to get money to fix their estate and whatever. And for the first half of the movie, I kind of thought that her dad was gonna be a bigger villain than he ended up being. I mean, that's kind of the point of it. Like, slowly, as Birdie comes to understand the world better, she kind of sees that ultimately her family, they are looking out for her, but I'm gonna more or less read you the synopsis on Wikipedia because I'm really bad at remembering to tell you key details in order. So it says, Catherine, known as Birdie, is a 14-year-old English girl living in 13th century Lincolnshire, England, with her father, Lord Rollo, mother, Lord Ashlyn, and 17-year-old brother, Robert. Her other brother, Edward, is a monk at a nearby monastery. Birdie's nurse, Morwena, she's important. She takes care of Birdie. Birdie's friends with a peasant boy named Perkin, who often joins her in her antics. Rollo, her father, is informed that the family finances are in terrible shape and he can solve them by marrying Birdie to a wealthy suitor. So initially, Rollo's against this. He's like, no, Birdie, we can't send her away. But he kind of, the financial advisor is like, you have no other choice. And he's like, Birdie's not too young, is she? She's 14. That's old enough, right? He's like trying to convince himself that he can marry her away. Oh yeah, and then her mom, Ashlyn, she has a stillborn child, and that's, I think, the 6th one that she had. Birdie doesn't want to get married, so she's scaring all her suitors away just by being weird or mean or generally off-putting. Oh yeah, there's a whole thing where she's like into her Uncle George. Uncle George was away at the Crusades. I don't know how long he's been gone because he says that he hasn't seen her since she was in nappies, and she's 14 now, so how would she even remember him if he was gone like 10 plus years? But she remembers him, she's obsessed with him, he is her favorite person. Well, other than maybe Alice. But then she gets into a fight with Alice because she sees Alice kissing George, and she's like, George is mine, even though he's her fully adult uncle. So it is a little shady, a little weird that a fully adult uncle was kissing Alice, but also it was the medieval times, so that was like kind of normal, but like still weird. And then Alice thinks that she can get a marriage proposal from George, but then he ends up marrying, what was her name? Ethelfrina, who was like 48 years old, and theirs was like not a love marriage. I think he was just after her wealth or whatever, and she was just like looking for someone to protect her. So then Alice marries the 9-year-old boy instead, and obviously she's like upset about that. But he dies like pretty much right away. Then Birdie's brother not the monk, the other one, wants to propose to Alice, but he doesn't have enough money. And then this like rich old guy is into Birdie, and he was after Birdie to be his wife, and he's like trying to, and she tries to chase him off like she did all the others, but he likes that she's weird. He's like, I like the chase. He like gives her money to woo her. She's like, I'll show you, I'm not spending any of your money. And then there was also this really tragic scene where Birdie is trying to get out of this engagement with Shaggy Beard, and she's like, she goes to her friend Perkin, who's also her age. He's a peasant though. But she goes to her friend Perkin and she's like, please marry me. Let's go to the village right now and get married. I can't marry Shaggy Beard. And Perkin's like, no. And I was so annoyed with Perkin in that moment, okay? And she took it way better than I did, because he was like, I don't want to marry any woman. Birdie, she was like, oh, you'd rather marry a man. And she like hugs him and whatever, they get over it. But if it was me, I would have been like, bitch, this isn't about who we want to marry. This is about you saving me from that creepy old man. Marry me right now or you are not my friend. That's what but you know, Birdie is more mature than me, I guess. Anyway, she like hugs him, and Perkin is like, listen, you want to run off to the Crusades. I want to be a scholar. We don't get to do what we want in this world. And it was so depressing, and I thought that was gonna be like basically what happened, where the movie ended, was her accepting, oh, we don't get what we want in this world, and her marrying the old man. So she runs off to stay with Uncle George and Ethelfrina, and she tells them how she's engaged to the old guy, and they're both like, oh no. Like, obviously they're both like upset about it, but they also like know that this is the way of the world, so they're trying to kind of talk the situation up to her. You could be rich and buy things, and like they're trying to like help her adjust to the situation, because they know that there's no way out of it for her, and it's just like so sad. It's so sad. And there's this scene with Birdie and Uncle George, and she's like, can you tuck me in? Because she's still young, you know? So Uncle George goes to tuck her in, and she's like, you're a hero in the Crusades, why don't you save me? And he's like, I was never a hero. Ah! There are no heroes! It was so sad. And then in the morning, Birdie is talking to Ethelfrina, and Ethelfrina's like, let's make a run for it. Like, I'm rich, you're young, let's go. Like, let's get out of here. We can make it on our own. Ethelfrina was like kind of crazy, so I don't know if she meant it or not, or if she was just trying to make Birdie see that there was no alternative, make her like more okay with this, make this more kind of her decision to stay or not. Because when Birdie says no, Ethelfrina does look really disappointed. But at the same time, Ethelfrina, yeah, she's like kind of crazy, but she's also shown herself to be kind of wise in like the ways of the world and how to survive and stuff. So I don't think that she actually thought that that was a possibility for them to escape. Birdie decides like, oh no, because if we run away, then I'll never see my friend Alice again. I'll never see my mom. Like, I want to be home for Christmas. If I marry this old guy, at least I can do all that. I can see my baby sister grow up. She's convinced that the baby's gonna be a girl. I can still be around the people that love me, my nurse, Morwena, and Perkin, and everyone. And Ethelfrina's kind of like, yeah, you can do that if you stay. So then Uncle George brings her back, and I thought, okay, this is where we're gonna start getting into spoilers, okay? I mean, I guess this whole thing has kind of been spoilery, but I thought when she got back to the house that her mom was already gonna be dead. And I'm like sobbing as she's like riding back on the horse with George. Morwena comes out to greet them, and I was like, oh no, Morwena's gonna tell her that her mom is dead. Birdie gets off the horse, she hugs Morwena, and Morwena's like, that's your mom. And I'm like, no, it's not her mom is dead, her mom is dead. But then we cut to her mom, and she's just like in labor, so she's not dead yet. And I'm like, oh my god, she's gonna die, Birdie's gonna be here to see her die. Luckily that is not what happens. The midwife is like kind of starting to give up. They come in to baptize the baby because they think it's gonna die before it's born again. And then her Rollo, the father, he was outside, and he like busts in, and he's like, no, you're not gonna let my baby die, and you're not gonna let my wife die, and you're gonna figure it out, and they're all gonna be fine. And I feel like that was the first moment, or not the first moment, but I guess the first like big moment where you see like Marlo isn't just this like evil dude. He obviously does care about his family, and like he doesn't always make the right decisions, like continuing to have kids when they all die, and it endangers the mother every single time too. But he also does care about them at the end of the day, so he's not 100% evil. We cut to the next morning. The camera like pans to the crib. The crib is empty, and I'm like, the baby's dead. But no. Then they switch to them holding the babies. 2 babies. It was twins. And they're alive and well, and so is the mom. And it's like, whoa! I didn't think that was gonna happen. That's a pleasant surprise. And it was 2 girls. And Rollo is happy, even though they're girls, and it's like the olden days. It's cute. It's a cute moment. It's after that Birdy decides to give the money she had to her brother so that her brother could propose to her friend Alice, because her brother's had a thing for Alice since forever. And like that's pretty clear to like the viewer, but Birdy didn't actually know about it until I think after Alice's husband died. And Robert's like, ooh, I have hope now. And Birdy's like, of what? But then he couldn't marry her because they didn't have enough money. Because remember, Birdy's family is poor. But Birdy has that money that her fiance, old man fiance guy gave her. And so she gives it to Robert. So she's like, at least someone can be happy. And then after that, she is like, okay, I'm gonna go marry the old man now. She gets in the carriage to go with the old man. And everyone is like so sad to see her go. They keep hugging her. They keep being like, wait, Birdy. And then you see her dad just like against the stones, like tears like streaming down his face. And the mom like trying to console him, even though she was against this marriage and all of Birdy's marriages from the beginning. She's like, oh, you have to make tough decisions sometimes. Oh, actually, I just thought of something that I forgot to say. I know I said the first time I thought of the dad, Rollo, as as like anything but an antagonist was like during the birthing scene, but actually it was before that, when he's trying to marry Catherine off originally. Catherine's mother is like, darling, why don't we wait a little bit? Catherine can't even have kids yet. And he's like, oh yeah, okay, because I mean she can, but she's been hiding it from them. He's like, oh yes, right. Let's wait. She is too young. Yeah, let's wait. And then later on, after she's engaged to the old man, and it's like set, she's going to marry him, she's like, no, I have to stay until the baby's born. And he's like, that's months away. And she's like, please let me stay. And he's like, okay, you can stay until the baby's born. So, you know, he does have his soft moments. Anyway, in the end, he's like sobbing as she's getting into the carriage to marry the old man. She starts riding off with him, and then the dad like runs after them, and he's like, wait. Get out of the carriage, you can't take her. So Shaggy Beard is like, no, I'm gonna take her because I already paid for her. You already spent the money I gave you, so no. And the dad is like, no, but I take it back. Like, you can't take her. You can't have her. And Shaggy Beard is like, okay, we'll duel then. We'll duel. This was one of the moments where you remember it's a comedy. Because the dad's like, right, yeah, we'll duel. To like the death, or and Shaggy Beard's like, to the death, and the dad's like, to the death. So then they start dueling, and Rollo gets injured, and you're like, oh no, is he gonna die for her? Is that like how this ends? But no, he just gets injured, and then Shaggy Beard but then he gets one up on Shaggy Beard, and he's like about to like win. And Shaggy Beard's like, oh, actually, my back hurts. I'm old. My back went out. I've got a weak spine. I gotta go. Bye. And he tries to get back in the carriage and take Catherine away. And then the whole village is like, you can't. You just forfeited the duel. You can't just take her and run. And they all swarm the carriage so that it can't move. And then they like rock it until like they can get Birdy out. and she's reunited with them, and it's so cute. And it's so cute because Birdy spent so much of the movie thinking that like everybody, like nobody cared about her, and they all like weren't there for her, but in the end, like it's like the whole everyone came together to like save her, and it was a sweet movie, and I cried so much. I was scared. I was scared this whole movie. I thought the movie was gonna be sad, and it turned out not to be, which was good. But I had already prepared the sadness in me, and so I was sobbing. I was sobbing. And the second time, I didn't think I was gonna cry because I was like, I know that everyone gets a happy ending. I don't need to cry this time. No, but I still cried. I still cried because realistically, in the real world, most women didn't get happy endings. Most people didn't get happy endings. Like, and also because, like, it is just, like, sweet. You know how I feel about period dramas. I don't really care if they're historically accurate or not. And I feel like this one, I mean, I'm sure this one wasn't. But what I really like about it, I feel like a lot of the times in history we think of people as like kind of cruel. How could you marry your 14-year-old daughter off to a 70-year-old man? Like, that's evil. And like, yeah, that's obviously messed up, but it's like more complicated than that. And he was, in his own way, trying to give his family the best chance. Like, not just Birdy, but everyone. They didn't have the money for her to stay with them. And like, you kind of see everyone, like all the adults in the movie, like their different perspectives of it. And like, obviously none of them are happy about it. And none of them want to see Birdy go, but they all like kind of understand that it's a necessary evil, and they just do their best to make Birdy feel okay with it. Her mom even makes a point where, like, because her mom was very against it the whole time, but in the end, when they think it's inevitable, her mom, she takes Birdy and she's like, anyway, I feel like it does a lot to humanize people from the Middle Ages and kind of show that people have always been people, even though like social norms and things have changed. I also liked the music. Catherine Called Birdy is a really good movie, in my opinion. I actually didn't look up reviews for this, so I don't know. This isn't like Wuthering Heights where I'm going in knowing that I'm gonna have a hot take when I make this video. I actually don't know what the general consensus is on this movie. I just know that I liked it. And you guys can fight me again. Okay. Anyway, that's all. Bye. She is like, okay, I'm gonna go marry the old man now. Bye, everyone. My cat just invited himself in. Hi, baby. Thought of, the dad, Rollo, as... Would you stop that?